Welcome to episode 5. We have made it past the statistic of every podcast after 3 episodes quits. We appreciate you guys for listening and taking our rough voices amongst your ear holes every week. You guys have been absolutely incredible. So once again, welcome to What Day Is It? Here with me is my incredibly sexy co-host Fluffy, aka I haven't thought of another nickname for him this week, but that is okay. And then on this one, our special 5 episode anniversary, we have our buddy Billie Ballantine. How are you today?
Good. How are you guys?
I can't complain.
I've been better. I broke my camel today, so
He broke his camel. he bought this like wooden camel trunk like chest thing from an antique store. It was really cool actually,
it's like
but
$80.
fucking snapped its neck right off.
Dropped it on the way here. I was gonna show it off.
Fucking guy. Literally on the way, he sent me a photo before he was coming over. He's like, "I'm not bringing the camel anymore. It was missing a neck." But
Next
That's the way
week.
it goes. That's the way this day's gone for a lot of people, I'm sure, including
yeah,
myself. It sounds like the Fluffy.
We all had bad days.
that's true. My day's been kind of ass too. I brought both my kitties one barn cat and my house cat to the vet today, and my old cat in the house, she don't really want to walk. She's kind of hot. She's got something going on, but she's old. We'll see what happens, I suppose. And the barn cat, she's like 10 too. I don't know. Animals have problems, unfortunately, but
That's real weird because my cat yesterday went lame on the front right. I noticed her limping on the front right. I'm like, that's weird.
really.
What happened? She couldn't tell me because she's a cat.
See, something must be in the air because I woke up this morning and I went down to the kitchen, and in my cat Luna, she was laying in a corner that she never lays in, and I was like, well, that's fucking weird. So of course I go to like kind of boot her out of the corner, like, get up, it's time to eat, and she kind of like she gets up and her back is arched, her back feet are down, like she's uncomfortable walking on them, and she's walking like a hyena, and she just waddles to another corner. And if you know anything about animals, when animals start picking corners, it can kind of be an issue.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what
Yeah,
the
that
fuck?
sucks, man. The animal industry injuries are a bitch. I mean, for that main thing, you can't talk to them. You just kind of have to judge for yourself and use what you've learned and all the clinics that you've been to figure out what the hell's wrong with the animal, and you just can't. You just have to like guess.
Yep, absolutely.
Imagine that. You're not being able to talk to your doctor. He doesn't know what you're saying, and you got like prostate pain. No way to tell him.
Go out of
Absolutely.
country.
Well, that being said, it's kind of neat to think about it like that, because that's a whole nother reason to give respect to these veterinarians.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's like I said in the first podcast, it's easy to find a vet, hard to find a good one. But a human goes into the doctor, and they express all these reasons of pain. The dog, the cat, the camel, the animal can't do that. That's a really interesting way to think about it. And what's more, kind of messed up in human medicine is a lot of the times people go in with chronic pain issues, express it all to the doctor, and they still can't figure it the hell out.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these veterinarians, they do figure stuff out, a lot of them, but they got a tough job amongst seeing 100 different species as well.
It's easier when they have a limp too. It's like, oh well, foot, leg, something there.
Foot, leg, something.
It's at least there.
But I appreciate you joining us today, Billie. We're already off to quite the quirky start here, but I figure
Thanks
you
for having
got
me.
what's that?
Thanks for having me. Sorry.
Yeah, my bad. I'm deaf, dude. But I figure, we could have some fun here with you. I figure you just got tons of goodies to talk about. For anybody that doesn't know, Billie, him and I actually met on TikTok. I was doing lives on TikTok with the camels, and here comes this guy named Billie with all this knowledge, which is just odd for the average civilian to have. Turns out this man is not an average civilian. This man, he's got some stories and tales of his own, man. Do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, or why about animals and whatnot?
Sure, that's simple. I can do quick. I'm Billie Ballantine. My grandfather was Bill Ballantine, founder of Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Clown College. Um, let's see. He when he got out of the war, he was pretty phenomenal, or a pretty famous game show actor. I guess that used to be a thing in the 30s and 40s,
Sure.
and into the 50s too. They would have repeat guests that were always on these game shows, and that would make these guys these celebrities. That's what made him a writer. And when he was a writer, he did a piece on Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Clown College for Newsweek, and then he got the bug, the circus bug and the animal bug, and joined the circus. Married my grandmother, who was the lead snow queen for the Ringling Brothers. They used to have this weird niche for every year.
Sure.
This was it's robot year, or it's the Great Mongolians, or that year it was the Snow Queen year from was it Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe?
Okay, yeah.
And my grandmother got the job. They fell in love, and then he was asked back. He was a clown for several years on Ringling Brothers until he ended up founding Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Clown College, which invented the modern version of a clown that you think of when you think of a clown. When somebody says a clown, my grandfather invented that image, and before that, it was just all white-faced weirdo guys with pointy hats, acrobatic type white-faced clowns.
The horror clowns.
Oh yeah. Then my mother ended up divorcing my father when I was very, very young. And then that's when animals came into my life, where she married my stepfather, Kenny Teagles, which was head equestrian on a circus named Ford Brothers Circus. Okay. And then we went on to dozens of other circuses after that, and ended up with a contract for a exotic animal contract for Dixie Stampede in Pigeon Forge when I was about 13 years old. And we've been here ever since, and I've been bouncing in and out of stockbroking ever since as well. Oh, and we started the big thing where I learned the most about animals is with my brother, Gumby Michael. He wanted to start a huge camel ranch here in Sevier County. And this is the midst of the Dolly Parton, Dixie Stampede, exotic animal contract. And we ended up buying parcel after parcel until we reached about 316 acres. And with one camel, the first camel,
he had all the land.
A lot, man. We used one camel as a bulldozer, a chainsaw, and a tow chain. And we used the chainsaw to chop down 6-inch cedars. We had so many cedars that we could source thousands of perfect 6-inch cedars with ease. So we did that, stripped them down, and we started using those to build pens. And after that, we got 1-foot cedars, just as many, and fenced in the entire 316 acres, 1 3-foot hole at a time, with 2 shovels, a crowbar, and peat.
God, man, I'm getting ready to refence my place.
Pete pulled all the wood out, and now I'm here. Now I'm here with you guys. Long story short.
What a transition, dude. The amount of history that you have, with your family lineage and with the animals and Gumby alone is just absolutely it's incredible. And for your grandfather to come from where he did, man, like that's just insane. What really gets my pickle tickling out of all this is the Gumby. Before I had met you, I had heard 1,000,001 things about this man Gumby and the living legend, Gumby. My boss talked about him all the time. Our camel trainer friend Jason talked about him all the time, and to have met somebody that worked with the man, it's really impeccable, because the guy was like a myth,
right?
Right. He just did all these crazy things, but he's gone.
I don't even know what he looks like.
Well, I guess he looks like Gumby, which you said his nickname is Gumby due to the cartoon, correct?
Yeah, well, it's because of the cartoon. I used to think that when people started, saying, "Oh, you're Gumby," I was like, "What? Why are they calling you Gumby?" And before he answered, I thought it was because he could take a beating. Okay. He was Gumby, right? I'd do some things to him that he just come out, and I'd see animals do things to him that he shouldn't come out of.
Sure.
And he would just stand up, and throw his hat.
I knew a guy
and
like
go on
that.
with his business. But what it really is when he first started working, I can't remember if it's a 5-H ranch with Dave Hale or if it was Wisconsin Dells, that he just wore these overalls to protect his clothes from shit and piss, and they were a bright teal.
That's so funny.
Like,
He just had teal overalls on when he first started into the animal industry, and that's why people called him Gumby, and it just stuck.
and where do you even find that color in overalls anymore? You don't.
No, no doubt, dude. That's a truck stop, a Flying J
Yeah.
truck stop somewhere.
Right? That's a find nowadays.
That's so funny. So it sounds like Gumby back in the days got you put in quite the predicaments with some of these animals. I
Tons.
it like you definitely have an old school mentality, which that's fucking cool. You got to be with one of the greats to do it and create a lot of your own stories too, man. If I want to hear about the alligator story, sexing the alligators.
The alligator story, yeah. Well, we all know what it's like. Days on the farm after like say, it's in the season and you're 2 months in, right?
Yep.
This is you're like day after day, same thing, same thing, same thing. 6 in the morning, right to the faucets. You gotta throw the flakes. Say, hey, it's a routine and it's monotonous, and you kind of don't have to think after a
You're
while.
a
while you
robot
do
for
this
sure.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the night part of that routine is drink, 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 eat, laugh, and maybe you might have to deal with a fence break or something like that, right? But then after that, you go to bed,
Right.
and it's day after day after day. Well, one night, he's like, I'm leaving. Make sure you do all the chore the end of the day chores yourself because dickhead's not coming in. I was like, all right, I got
Dickhead,
it.
he
Did
never
all those
comes in.
chores, and since I had to do them all to myself, it was late. I didn't even get out of back to the trailer until like 10 p.m.,
Sure.
11 p.m. And I dozed off about 12 p.m. watching. Dude, I remember it. Oh brother, where art thou?
I love that movie.
Yeah, dude. It was that year where it came out on DVD. The year it came out on DVD, I was laying down on the kitchenette, the breakdownable kitchenette where you can break it down, put the cushions over it,
Sure.
and still see the TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those real short 12-foot trailers. And I dozed off watching Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And it felt like minutes went by. And it was. So like it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock. I dozed off. At 1 o'clock, Gumby's opens the door, swings it open, bam, against the damn aluminum siding, knocks some shit off the wall. He's like, get up! He doesn't even say my name. He doesn't try to do anything. He's like, get up! You're not gonna believe this. I'm like, oh shit. And as soon as I open the door, I could smell it. Like we're in the middle of the Smoky Mountains, right? All you smell is juniper, beautiful deciduous trees. But when I opened it up, I smelled the pier, dude. It was like swamp, like mossy shit. The pier. And I was like, what the hell? Did you buy fish? What's going on? He's like, no, we need to get up in here and figure out the sex of all these animals real quick. I was like, what did you buy? He went to the Cookville auction, by the way.
Yep.
There's a big auction around here in Tennessee, from Middle Tennessee to East Tennessee. The Cookville auction is a big auction. If you're ever looking for something special in Tennessee, that's where you want to go
Sure.
on auction day. And he took his time. I guess he probably, I don't know if he did or not, but guessing he pulled into a Buffalo Wild Wing around 9:30 after the auction and just let him sit there in the parking lot for a long time, and then came home, woke me up, and with our buddy Cal. I don't know if you've ever heard of Cal or not. I can't remember his last name.
The transporter Cal.
Yeah, he transports buffalo, cattle, and always wears a buffalo horned hat when he's driving.
God, who was the guy that took the boys out of here last winter?
He'd be about my age.
What's he look like? Is he buff as shit?
Yeah, he's a lot like us, darker beards, olive skin.
Is he bald?
Thicker. No, if he's bald now, it's a skullet for sure, because he's never had like under 1 foot hair.
Do you remember his last name?
Yeah, I'll have to remember his last name, but he was with Cal, and then him and Cal said, we have to sex all these alligators. I was like, what? Alligators? Looked in there, and we had a 40-foot horse trailer.
Okay.
Filled up with alligators about 2 feet. Like, as if it was a train car that a bulldozer was dumping him in by the fucking scoop load. And
terrifying.
They were all taped up. What's that?
Said absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrifying. They were all flopping around too. Well, once we opened up the door, they started moving. And He's like, we got to figure out the sex of all these alligators tonight. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why tonight? Why do we have to do this evening? He's like, because Cal needs his trailer back.
Jeez.
So we might as well just do it all now. And he taught me how to fucking, do, if you don't know, I don't know, how to sex a reptile.
I'm not super familiar with it, but I think you got to squeeze something out.
You gotta poke your finger in them.
Poke your finger in.
Right, there you go. They got their little males and females all look the same on the outside. You have to enter them to feel if there's wiener in there or not.
If there's no wiener,
Then I guess it ain't a man.
Right. So we had to go through about 35, 40 of them. Well, maybe it's in between 20 and 35. Let's do it like that.
That is an
In
insane
the middle of the
amount,
night.
at 1 a.m.
dude.
Yeah, 1:30 in the morning. And it's just something he wanted me to see and learn and do at that time, because he didn't need me, but they decided to just disturb me and wake me up, rattle me out, and make me stick my finger in a bunch of alligators for about an hour or two.
Did anybody leave this with any injury?
No, everything was taped up, and not any more injuries than we usually got around.
That's valid. That's valid.
A camel, if a camel head is coming up real quick and you're not watching, he hits you in the side of the head. It's about the same as a crocodile hitting you with his snout real hard to the side. It's about the same force. So
Sounds
no,
about
not
right.
really.
Yeah. The other one sounds a lot more intimidating, though. That's some crazy shit, dude.
Bunch of crocodiles, especially when you've never dealt with them before and you're afraid of reptiles, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And woke up.
Semi
You're still
hungover.
drunk,
Yeah.
You're still drunk from feeding the fields.
Dude, that sounds like some of the old stories from here, because our boss and his father, they were known for just bringing home bullshit, like just
Oh my
shit
God,
animals
yeah.
like that. Just have never been worked. They're green. They're mean. They were abused, bad pet. You name it. And then they'd get it home, and the boss would be like, "This has to be in a parade in 3 days." All right, man. I guess throw it on a rope. See what we
Yep.
can do.
How many bulls just showed up here? Oh yeah, I just got a deal on a camel. You got what?
Why'd you get a deal on a camel? Well, he tried to eat the guy.
Yeah.
I wonder why, dude.
That's how they got Ralph.
Is it?
You never heard the Ralph
I
story?
don't think so.
Oh
You're
man.
not Ralph the Lion, right?
Yeah.
Well, what happened with Ralph?
With Julio?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Ralphie eat Julio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big teeth, eat Julio.
Yes, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about. I forgot all about that, because he came out of Chicago, right? An apartment in Chicago.
No, it was a zoo
You sure? I
Yeah.
don't know.
because he had to go in the cage.
Yeah,
He dropped down
Yeah.
from the top.
you're right. It was a cage drop down. Okay, yeah, I thought it was
A private zoo or something. Yeah.
Something. I have Bob telling that story.
Yeah, I
Oh.
thought you did.
I'll have to double check that.
We're gonna have to watch that.
Absolutely. That is absolutely some crazy stuff. But we're on the camel podcast. You guys had quite the head of camel, didn't you?
Yeah, around 50 at the
Holy
most.
shit!
That's a lot of camel. And then Gumby, I believe you had said that Gumby, when his first camel was caught out of Australia.
Yeah, he went out to Australia and they caught a number of camels, and the one that he kept out of that bunch was Pete, the dromedary bull. And they brought him back. They went back a couple times too back then. Had to go through the 2-week quarantines, all that over and over again. It was insanity. His mind back then just didn't. I mean, he was just like, I wonder if we can do this and see if we can pull this off.
Right.
And then that was the drive. That was all the drive. Could we get away with this? And then we do it and see if we could get away with it or not. And that was one of the things. Can we go to Australia and do this thing that everybody's doing out of fucking Robinson R-44 helicopters, bolo and camels and shit out of a helicopter?
That's wild.
That is fucking.
Now,
crazy.
did they come? Are they sail or they fly over here?
What's
Sail,
that?
right? Did they sail here?
Sail.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
That is absolutely so wild, man. I mean, that's just something that we don't do today.
No.
Like, I mean, it could happen if you had that kind of money, but and he was probably bringing in some damn good genetics to the country too.
Huge help.
Absolutely. I'd imagine he's
Well,
got
yeah.
baby or kids of his camels still running around here somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Pete gave hundreds of thousands of rides, I'm sure. And I think he sired 10 or 20 different calves that were sold.
Are you familiar with the Walk-A-Miles?
No.
I don't know, I guess, too much about them to speak about them. I don't know where they're from. I'd have to ask my buddy Jason. But there's a lineage of camels in the U.S. that go by the walk-a-mile camels. Like, it started as one camel they called the walk-a-mile because he was just big, a long-legged bastard, and he just has a lineage of kids. I don't know where
Oh,
they
really?
came from. That's why I was going to ask you if you knew anything about them. But
Oh, I see. So, like, you get a $5 ride ticket in about 30 seconds. Hell yeah.
oh
I'm
yeah,
down with that.
you already know how these camel rides are, man.
$5 shit.
Get on, go in your circle, get off.
Yeah.
They need to rename those camels to cha-ching, to cha-ching. Yeah, double.
That's funny, man. It's super cool, all the shit you've done and the things you've seen. One thing, too, that would be super interesting, I think, to hear from you is with such your lineage of not only circus but animals. I mean, they're two things that they go hand in hand.
Mm.
You know, there's such a bad demographic of people against circuses and animals these days. Is there anything that you could talk about with the circuses that you could, I don't know, like, what's the biggest thing on your mind that says it is okay to have animals in circuses, if that makes sense? Like, do you think they have a bad rap?
Absolutely. Well, so circuses got a bad rap quickly. And I mean, well, one thing you got to put up right up front is that
Suck.
there's good people and bad people in every different industry, right?
Absolutely.
So even animal owners or fucking, performers, they can be bad people too.
Yep.
Just because they're into the arts doesn't make them wifty, like hippy dippy people that just love and want to. Yeah, because that's not the case. There are people out there that will just start buying up and overworking, say, elephants.
Yep. Absolutely.
And there's so many circuses out there that's hard to prevent. But that being said, I believe that there are way more of those types of people in, say, an animal rights group or anything like that, because it's not, those things aren't born from somebody's love of art and wanting to have an elephant act. Those things are always pretty much born in Washington or like, I don't know, some chamber of commerce somewhere where they figure out, hey, this will make us a dime and it'll make us look good and we'll have a cause and everybody loves elephants, so why would you want to ride one, and that's a straight up propaganda. It's way worse than a dickhead that keeps too many monkeys and doesn't feed them. Way worse.
You're about to get the fucking notion going here on these. Oh man,
Here we go.
Yeah. First of all, you're right. There is evil in every industry. I mean, you got a chef that makes an incredible burger, and you got a chef that makes a terrible burger. You know, it's the same in every single industry, man.
And somehow that fucker's still in business. They can't make a goddamn burger, man.
Seriously. And then, we got people like, us that like to think we work our camels pretty well. And then we got, Hale, the guy, not Hale, excuse that, Green, that we got Eli from.
Oh my god,
that
he wasn't a camel guy though.
Yeah, but he was beating the shit out of Eli. There are, good and evil of every industry.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, man.
Well, he made Eli stick trained.
Dude, absolutely fucked up, and the only elephant people I know, Billy, are some of the folks from Endangered Ark Foundation, if you're familiar, out of Oklahoma. And dude, they're pleasant, they're great. They've got me gigs, they're phenomenal people, man. And the reason I got to meet them is because Illinois banned elephants coming into the state to do acts, and so I replaced the elephants for a couple of years with camels, and it just makes me sad, dude. And it's not their fault. It's the state listening to all the propaganda of people like PETA. It's really fucked up, man.
And money as well.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another shame. I mean, it just depends on how much money you have to how big your bullhorn is going to be.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's all it takes.
And animal people are broke as shit.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. We're all broke as fuck, but you think PETA's broke?
No,
There's no way in
no,
hell.
they got millionaires
Nope.
on their board.
Dude,
Probably
PETA.
Because they
billionaires.
have no pastures. They have no pastures. They don't have to answer to USDA. No
Yep.
one's groaning for food at the end of the day. So they got all the money.
Yep.
Absolutely, and it's super wild to think about it like that. And their mission, honestly, PETA's mission is a dead animal is better than a captive animal.
Yep.
So that really does lead them to have more room or more money in their pockets when, like you said, they're not taking care of any animals.
No.
And PETA's animal shelters, they have such a high kill rate, probably for that reason. That's less dog food.
Well, it's
That's
cheaper.
less water. Yeah. Absolutely.
They plan that out. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. This is an organization that's planning hits, just like the mob on the dark web, or the same thing that a human being is, another living creature, and they're planning this out for weeks to go stalk your property, show up at 2:00 in the morning, and literally snipe your ass out like you're a terrorist in Afghanistan. Not you, but your coyotes, your llamas, your whatever they whatever they want.
Absolutely. It's really fucked up. Have you had, I'm sure you have through your past with Gumby or the other ranches, whatever, have you like had PETA show up to any place?
Yeah, I was in part of a movie. I had a role in a movie called The Bell Witch. And then in that movie they had a wild animal broker named Dick Parkinson.
Okay.
Out of North Carolina, and Dick Parkinson kept
name,
coyotes.
Great name.
At his house.
Name.
Great name.
Dick Parkinson. That's 10 out of 10. Right. Anyway,
he might be still around, but they did that very thing. They planned out for weeks, and they went after his ranch, and they popped 2 of his captive coyotes that were farm raised, and then he brought the other 2 to me, and I hid them in my garage for a week before he came back down.
Jeez.
That's super messed up. Do you think, like, were they just going to try and use the argument if we thought it was a wild coyote?
Yeah, they'd have been after his ranch. They had a campaign against his ranch for months.
Sure.
And he had told me that there was like 4 or 5 different run-ins and protests out in front of the ranch, and then he just chose other ranches out of state to go hide his animals in for a while until he can get it dealt with. And I had to keep the coyotes.
Wild.
It's messed up, man. He loses a couple animals he loves, and outside of that, it's super inconvenient having to move all these critters, all because these assholes think their animals shouldn't be there. Like, I don't know. I don't know, personally, specific people on PETA's roster. I'm talking like the brainwashed civilians. Like, I'm not friends with them. I stay away from them, But if I were to go into, like, a group of 100, PETA people, sit in a room, I don't like. I have to be a super small percentage of them that have ever raised an animal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Never had a dog. Never had a cat, and they won't because they think it's cruel for some reason. When there's 800,000 freaking cats in their town.
There's so many cats and so many dogs, man. It's really, really messed up, and that's a whole nother topic on itself. The overpopulation of animals we have, and people keep breeding them, and then PETA's on everybody's ass, like, why are we breeding dogs, blah 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 blah. Like, it's I don't they never understand the situation either. I hate people that bring up that topic so constantly, blaming dog breeders too, and some of them are an issue, but when you look at shelters, like, what are the most common dogs in shelters? Shepherds, German Shepherds, Chihuahuas, and Pit Bulls. But you're over here mad at the fucking Labradoodle breeder,
right?
Like,
you're paying thousands of dollars for.
I don't like mills. Like, let's make sure that's said. I don't like mills that are selling out to Petco 24/7 for your $20,000 French bulldog. But like, I don't really think there's nothing too wrong with the private industry, but there are certain dogs that are heavily overpopulated.
Yeah.
And they're roaming the streets in other countries. Like, it's an issue. That's a whole other topic on itself. Like, see, a little thing gets in my ear, and like, I just start boiling,
ranting, dude. And I love it.
I just thought of like that. Those are our problems here in this country, say, right? What are the similar problems in other countries, like India and Bengal, for instance? It's like, hey, we got to take care of these tigers, man.
The tiger attacks over there are insane.
Dude, if PETA existed in India,
which they don't, there's no way.
Who knows?
They'd be like, we got to let these tigers have your babies.
Right?
It's okay. I mean,
they're hungry. They have to eat.
They have to eat.
And give them a Gatorade while they're at it.
Yeah.
They need to wash it down with something.
You don't think a white tiger needs a Starbucks every once in a while? You're wrong.
A venti mocha latte for Ralph the Lion over there. Make sure he gets it stat before Brittany in the car line.
And then they'll be like, they'll get naked. If we don't listen to them, they're just gonna get naked on the sidewalk. Starbucks for Tiger.
And you don't want to see them naked.
No,
they are not beautiful people.
No, they're a lot of them are as ugly as they are on the inside.
Yes,
absolutely.
But it's like you can almost like judge exactly their next step because of the repetition and craziness of the organization and what they are. That's the steps of it. They threw up a Facebook post about it, something that they don't know anything fucking about. Mm-hmm. And then after that, when no one says anything or someone pisses them off in the comment section, they're going to go give $100 to a student that needs money really badly, that has no idea what the hell he's going to be protesting. And he's going to strip his clothes off, walk in front of the fucking courthouse and say Starbucks for Tigers.
Yep.
It's so ridiculous, but God, I could see it, man. Like, how come the dogs can have pup cups because they're not in captivity? Well, technically they are captive, but the lion can't have a pup cup, you know? Like, that is a belligerent thought, but something that I could see them doing.
Oh, yeah.
And now absolutely. I'm just angry thinking about it. Fucking PETA, man. Fucking PETA.
Absolutely.
PETA,
and then you could probably try that method too. Like make your own fake animal animal love fucking program, or what am I trying to say? Organization. And then go try those steps, those PETA steps at a college, and it will work. You can make somebody protest this dumbest shit that they don't care about because they really need that $100, and that's how PETA operates.
Oh yeah, I guarantee you, if I, because I'm always live on TikTok and stuff like that. If I went and bought some Starbucks or whatever and brought it home to the Camel or whatever and started a movement and posts and made graphics about it, we could start Starbucks for an animal for sure. Like,
oh yeah.
Especially like you're saying, if you give somebody $100, that's 20 times the incentive of just people already wanting to advocate for animals. But you can repeat something so stupid so many times to the point that people think it's true.
Oh yeah, lie until it's believable.
Absolutely. And if you stay persistent, somebody's gonna hop on with you. Now you got 2 mouths speaking what your truth is, and then somebody hops on, you got 3 mouths, which doubles into 6, and eventually Billie's onto some shit. Starbucks for animals is gonna be a real fucking thing, dude. Like,
yeah, dude. Like, birds aren't real. Remember that campaign? Started out with a record.
Man, people are still saying that shit.
Birds aren't real. I don't know where you're coming from, man. What are you on?
They're robots. But they're just a bunch of morons, man.
Yep. If you're really calculated, Gumby figured out that if you're calculated enough about finding out how they operate, you can be them. So like he would be them to deter them away, or get ticket holders through their lines very easily by being them. So he just took a bunch of photos and then used those photos to design a t-shirt that's exactly like their t-shirts, and then ordered about 2-3 dozen of them. So then when they started showing up, we would put those t-shirts on, go into their lines, and then like push people through, push ticket holders through.
Genius.
That is funny.
Genius.
That's absolutely incredible, man.
So that's the crap you were dealing with, though.
He's old school too, so guess what he called it? You got to know.
People eating tasty animals.
No, can't beat them, join them shirts. So
that's funny, dude. I need to get some printed out shirts just in case.
Right?
That's hilarious.
Some PETA shirts, yeah. I mean, know whether your local organization wears red or blue. That's really all you gotta figure out.
Dude, I have no clue.
Never had any run-ins with like the groups. I've had personals,
one-on-ones.
Yes,
yeah,
a lot of that, but never like
never a picket,
never a group. Nope.
No.
What do you mean, just some average Joe being like, you shouldn't do that?
Yeah, I had a lady at Brady Street Festival one time. This camel shouldn't be here, piss drunk. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm leaving in 10 minutes. Trust me, he shouldn't be here right now.
Brady Street was hell.
You were there that day, right?
Yeah.
It was me, you, and Brant.
Brady Street in Milwaukee, Casablanca. It's a what kind of food? A Middle Eastern food joint would hire us for Brady Street Festival, and the Camels. It was a 12-hour walking gig. It was rough for sure.
It's like a 16-hour day.
I mean, you know, Camels, Billy, they don't quite get tired, but this one, it puckered them boys for sure. But
really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it was on concrete too. It was not fun.
It was a long gig, man. And I was, I don't know, 17, dude. At
Yeah.
the time, that was a long time ago. Fluffy was mad.
Oh
He
yeah.
was so mad. We got these big old 70-pound fences surround the camel ride, dude. By the end of the day, camels were in the trailer, and Fluffy was just throwing these fences onto the side of the trailer.
Nobody was getting out of the way. They're just being drunk, and I'm like, I know how to deal with drunk people. Just hit them with the fence. Don't fucking move. And they did. Nobody did anything about it. They moved.
I do gotta say that the Middle Eastern joint, they gave me some incredible cheese fries with gyro on it.
Yes, that place was really good.
That's the only time I've ever eaten at that place.
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
I think it
Man,
was-
those food joints at spots, the food trailers at spots are so much better than like I'm talking about like what you're talking about, a fair or an event of any kind. The fucking trailers that go to those places are way better than any food truck that you'll ever see in a city, downtown, sitting at the sidewalk or anything. You'll find the weirdest stuff, man, like bull balls or like marinated oyster necks, some weird shit.
Not in
And it's
Wisconsin.
always
It's all
the-
deep fried.
Yeah, deep fried
Yeah, it's all
oyster
deep
necks.
fried, like the deep fried Kool-Aid. That was the weird. That's still the weirdest thing I've seen.
How the fuck do you even do
Kool-Aid
that?
flavored hush puppies. It's like,
Deep
get outta
fried
here.
deep fried butter's pretty high up there too, though.
That is as Wisconsin as it gets, dude.
Yeah.
That's just like feral behavior. Why are you eating deep fried butter?
Because we're
My
animals.
veteran opinion for the viewers: if you ever end up at a fair and you see a weird thing at a fair and it says calf fries,
Mm.
just fucking eat it. Don't ask questions.
I was gonna
Just-
ask questions. I
Just
guess-
it's sheep balls shredded into strips, so it's like lamb testicle deep fried in a nice batter like Church's chicken. And I gotta tell you, it's delicious. Whoever's in the trailer, they're gonna be black, and they're gonna be from Louisiana, and it's gonna be amazing.
What the hell?
We don't get the flavors up here like that.
So it's a southern delicacy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but these people travel all over they're on the fair route, so they travel all over the United States. You might bump into them.
Sure. Huh? Yeah, I
Last time I saw that joint, it was beige, and it was about a 12-foot square trailer, diamond plate trailer, that just said calf fries on the side. That's all they need.
I'll
That's all you
try
need to
it
say.
if Fluffy tries it.
I'd try it in a heart. I'll try anything
That's true.
once.
Bottom feeder.
I am.
I'll try it. Why not? But sticking balls.
I tried
in my
camels
mouth.
and I love camels.
I would try
Yeah.
it if I had the opportunity.
It wasn't great.
No, have you had camel, Billy?
Yeah, we've tasted camel before.
You
Off
like
of back in the old days, accidents happened and there were less rules, and we kind of did what we wanted.
I mean, that's valid. That was old school. Was it good? You like it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a red meat. It's beautiful. Some of it's even like you can't cook camel blue. Like you can cook beef blue, where it's beyond rare. It's just
Yeah.
like seared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camel's like purple, dude.
Yeah, it's a different. Yeah.
I would try it. And everybody's gonna bat an ear at that, but people. There's a huge camel meat market across
They're
seas.
like a cow.
It is like a cow overseas. I
Mhm.
mean, people eat what is natural to their environment.
They're super
It
lean
is.
too.
And it's
It's
nothing.
it's a milk bearing, cud chewing, split toed animal, two-toed animal. It's gonna taste exactly like the rest of them, except for it's bigger, right? It's got more fat
Yep.
content, so it makes it purple. And the myoglobin is the correct word, which is everybody's like, oh, I don't like my steak bleeding, but it's not blood. That's myoglobin.
Yeah,
The myoglobin production in camels beyond anything.
really.
And I really enjoy it. You could use that myoglobin for a lot of things. You make gravies and dips and stuff right there at the table. So it's times 10. It's like cow times 10 to me.
Interesting. I mean, given the opportunity, I'll try. I mean, what's your favorite way to cook it?
We did steaks.
Okay.
Straight on the grill, campfire. Everything on Circle G Ranch was primitive.
Sure.
So it was right on the rocks, man.
I don't like eating my best friends, but I would try it. I'd try anything once.
No,
It's no
no.
different than eating a cow.
Well, when you have a herd of 50 and his leg's already broken and he's causing
Oh.
problems,
Oh man.
and he's got, every time you see a laceration in the side of somebody's ass, it's from that camel. And then
Oh,
and he mysteriously falls down the sinkhole. Then it's not a big deal.
valid.
We kind of enjoyed it, actually. We're like, fuck you.
That beast of burden's gone.
That's crazy.
Right. He was not causing any more damage. Like, this is that camel. I don't even remember his name. I think it's suppressed. I think I repressed it. I was like, I'm not even remember your name. Your name was
Your name was delicious.
George, but now it. Yeah. But those days where Gumby was just kind of. He always called the shots. It was his shit. You understand?
Yep.
I was there as an artistic director to build the ranch because he needed me and I loved him. But as far as like stock went or decisions on the property or anything like that, it was all Gumby. And that was one of his many very fun decisions. Let's fucking slaughter this motherfucker, and then we'll dump him in the dead hole in the back. I had nothing to do with it. I ate it though.
Valid, and you got a meal out of it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Did a lot of things like that, man. Now that he's gone, I can tell these stories. Like when oryx were rediscovered.
Sure. Beautiful animal.
He got a hold of one, and its leg instantly got broken in between two pieces of limestone.
Oof.
So I was like, what the fuck? I showed up one day after like a month. I was like, what the fuck is that thing? He's like, that's a oryx. And he told me the whole story. I was like, where did its leg go? He goes, oh, it broke between them two pieces of limestone over there. And he couldn't get it out. So I cut it out with this hacksaw.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you guys eat the oryx?
I don't know if I can say that or not.
Shut the
I'm alive.
fuck up.
No comment.
I'm alive. I'm alive, and that law still might be in place. I'm not sure. They might still be endangered. Are oryx still endangered?
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
Did not eat it.
As far.
Safe comment.
Dude, that is the craziest venison you could ever come by.
Right.
That's the
Right.
dude. That's way back when Jodan here had a was it a black buck or water?
Both.
There was a black buck escapee, and they never caught it.
That escaped.
This before my time. They never caught it, but all the time I think somebody probably had a good meal.
Water buck. It was a water.
Was
The
it
big
water
one.
buck?
that is
the big one.
That is really good meat. Black
Dude.
buck.
Really? But black buck are the small ones, right?
Black buck are
Yeah,
tiny.
small, little pointy.
Yeah. Little pointy,
Yep,
evil antlers.
They nod their
or
head when they walk.
horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so cool.
Yeah, and they obviously look like that's a tribal animal right there. Just look at its horn. That's
Oh yeah, the
That's-
swirl.
Yeah.
straight up some weird shield.
The one we had, every time you go to feed it, it'd be like wham, wham, wham across against the gate. And it's like, I gotta go in with this bastard. I hope he doesn't jump the fence or do something stupid. So I push him in because like the gate went into a trap or like a catch pen. So we'd close him into that, and the whole time, wham, 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 just nonstop. It's like, holy crap, dude! Like, please God, don't let this thing get out of here. And they're so small. They're not like terrifying. They're not like a deer size, but
Right.
Oh, yeah. What's the first animal that taught you guys to grab the deer shield?
whew.
Well, I never really worked with deer or deer-like species. But
Oh,
the
no?
first animal I ever used shields for, by shields, here we mean sheets of plywood. First of all,
Yeah,
It's not like Captain America.
but probably
Anything for that animal to ram instead of your crotch, you know?
Yeah,
As a shield.
probably the zebra.
Zebra, yeah, that'd probably be my number one.
But like at that point, it was almost mute because if that motherfucker kicks the plywood, you know, it might save you.
You heard about Jason with the ostrich, right?
Yeah, that's the plywood. Yeah, there's no guarantee on that.
Absolutely not. Honestly, I didn't know that professional zoo shields existed until like 3 years ago.
Yeah, they're horrible.
And I was like, wow, what the fuck? I mean, they're cool looking.
There's nothing there. They're this big.
I mean, I don't know.
It's not a shield.
You could always custom make a nice big one, but
Ours were custom. It was just steel. I mean, or aluminum. Aluminum worked, and then you try to TIG weld a little handle on the back of it, and that's it.
I might have heard Jason's ostrich story. He got pinned under the shield.
No, he got kicked
He got kicked.
because we were running him into the barn, and from one barn to the other,
Was this a shield or plywood?
it was the plywood, and he had it planted down, so it was like a chute.
Yep.
And he went to go like hold, and all of a sudden the ostrich kicked him, and he went whee.
Bye, Jason.
Yeah, he lived. That was
Ostriches, they'll get you, man.
Oh.
That's a good one.
They're so
terrifying.
Staying away from that toe.
Yeah, terrifying. They're like raptors, man.
Dude, I really, once I get all my pastures refenced and I get the caravan going on here, I'd really like to have some camel, or not some camels, some ostriches.
I thought you were gonna say
Yeah, I mean,
cassowaries.
No.
it's beautiful, and it if anything, it's a cheap way to make the sound, the nighttime ambience on your farm better, man.
Oh yeah.
That's valid. And, you know, as babies, they're cheap. So, and they grow in like 5 days.
They're so quick.
Mhm.
They're so quick. I mean, I'm not paying $2-3 grand for an adult female ostrich, but I'll give you $200 for a baby, $100 or whatever. I mean, it'd be grown in a week.
And you get eggs too.
Absolutely, dude.
Ostrich
Ostrich eggs.
eggs.
Poof. We cook
Sell
those
those.
breakfast, dude.
$50 a piece now in this market.
For real.
Yeah.
Somebody has to have made custom eggshell cartons for ostrich eggs. Like, could you imagine picking up a 1 dozen carton of ostrich eggs?
Like a ton.
Dude, that's such a good idea. You could do it. I know exactly what to do right now. You router it out of 2 blocks of wood and you put spray foam in the wood.
Ah,
Dude, for real though.
genius.
Yep.
That
Then
would,
you got ostrich egg cartons. You can.
dude, that thing would be like, God,
It'd be a trailer.
like
You
3
need a
feet
trailer.
long, dude. 3 feet by 2 feet long. Just oh my
Gotta throw it in
God.
the side by side.
Dude, you would have
And
to.
if you get any girls on the farm too, you could teach them how to etch the shells,
Oh,
and those are
yeah.
big money as well.
That would
Yeah.
be super cool. We had a couple here hanging above Bob's desk with the elephants drawn on
Yeah.
them. I don't know what happened to those.
Alex, or they
Somebody-
broke them. I still got an emu egg.
Do you?
Green ass thing. I never opened it. It's like 20 years old.
Oh, it never got dumped, dude. You
No.
never hollowed it out.
No, I bet it smells so bad.
Ooh.
It's
Yeah.
in my
Those
bedroom.
should be more. Don't you think that emu eggs should cost more than ostrich eggs just because of the skill and time it takes to hatch one compared to the ostrich?
Well, that and they're so much prettier.
I don't think I'm familiar with the difference of hatching them.
It's just harder. Emu, it's harder to get them to fucking hatch an egg than it is an ostrich. Far harder. The male on the ostrich eyes, they really do a good job compared to the emus. You have to incubate it right away, and then finding it in time. If you got a lot of land, you got this emu running around, you don't know where it's laying its fucking egg.
I mean,
And they don't.
go ahead. No, even when we had them here, we never had one hatched because, like you're saying, it's a lot more work than
Huh.
a regular chicken or anything.
Valid. I never knew that. We ours when they fucking Christ, I can't talk. When the emus were here in my time, we never had any eggs even drop out of them.
Really?
No.
Yeah, we had eggs, just male and female too. So
When I was working down for Lex in Florida at the Camel Caravan at Safari Wild and Giraffe Ranch, part of the tour there when they're leading the caravan is they would stop at an unhatched clutch of ostrich eggs, and they would balance on it. They would stand on the egg to show people how strong they are. It's really neat, man.
yeah,
And adult ostriches are like, what, 300-400 pounds or something, dude? They're heavy, man.
oh yeah, that's fair.
About 325 pounds.
That's a big ass.
That's pretty
bird,
accurate.
dude. For real, he was on the money with that. He's like, I've dealt with enough ostriches in my life.
But like when you touch them, they don't feel. Same with like emus, like they're a lot of fluff.
A lot of fluff, for
Yeah.
sure. Billy, what's your least favorite thing about working with animals, or on a farm or ranch?
Long-term post-traumatic stress anxiety. Like, well, like, like you're sleeping at night, you're thinking about these animals, you don't know if you did this, you don't know if you did that, you want to make sure, you might have left this faucet on. Is that
Oh man,
Is the
what
gate
that
open?
section of fence fixed? Is that thing rotten? Did I put iodine on that wound? It's a lot. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that sticks with you. If you leave the animal world, that's with you forever.
Yep.
It starts going with you like the faucets on your suburban house that you moved into after you quit. You're like still thinking the same thing.
Did I leave the gas on? Shit, man, that speaks volumes to me because I don't know how many times I got home. I'm like, did I lock the locks in the cat cage? And I turned around a couple times just to recheck the locks because cats was always at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And they were always locked.
I think it also makes you be mean to other people that don't understand. Like
Oh yeah.
people
Oh,
that
man.
weren't part of that world with you. Like you'll be like, why did you leave that fucking gate open? You're like,
I've seen some shit.
It's the other day, dude. I went to so I have to separate the foxes every morning, or else they steal each other's food. They're the foxes. They all suck. And I went to pick up their bowls, and as I was leaving the fox pen, I locked it, right. And I swear to you, I was probably like 30 feet away from the fox pen, and I was like, did I put the lock on right?
Mm.
And I walked back and it was locked. And then like 15 feet away again, I don't know, I had some type of anxiety about it. And I was like, am I sure the lock is on, even though I just put it on twice? Like,
And you better be sure.
Yeah, give it a
Or-
pull test.
dude, because these are mistakes that you can't make.
Oh yeah.
You
know?
can't. You can't make it because USDA is going to be back for their inspection. They're going to be like, where'd that go? What happened to you go?
Dude, you can't make them, especially when it comes to certain animals, dude. Like, you know, my foxes here, they're red foxes, of course, the species, but they're lavender foxes. They're this very beautiful blue, purple colored fox, you know, and dude, if that got out, like, that's hitting the news, you know, like somebody's be like, oh, there's a fox running around the color of, you know, a purple Friskies cat box or Barney, dude.
And
like,
then-
that's not gonna go unseen.
And then not only does your reputation to the people in the community that we're going to visit you next week get soiled, your
Diminished.
reputation in the community, the animal community itself, other people like yourself, you're like, you can't even close a fucking fence. You lost $800 in 2 hours, you idiot.
Seriously,
You know?
like,
Or
literally,
maybe $10,000, or you lose a license over it.
yes.
You know,
One
It's
mistake,
big
man.
time.
You know, outside of getting yourself hurt, you're completely right, man. You know, there's legalities to it. There's people shaming you, and the zoo world, man. I don't know how you feel about it, but a lot of people are extremely judgmental, and it's dumb because in the animal world there is so much room for all of us, but everybody wants to be doing something better, and it boggles me because zoos have been around for hundreds of years, and none of us at this point are really unique. You know, we're all on the same mission. Some of us do things a little bit differently, but like, what really makes you better than the rest of us? Why are we so goddamn judgmental? You know, it's just a nuts world for sure. But I totally get the anxiety, man.
Yeah, that's like, where'd Fluffy go to fucking check the gate?
He went to go tug on himself to check the gate. No, he had to take a. He leaves every podcast to pee, dude.
Oh,
Literally,
dude,
dude,
that's a good thing I'm here.
Dude, he's got the bladder of a Billie goat, dude.
Sorry.
But every time he leaves, like, I keep the conversation rolling every single time because he waits until he sees that I'm ranting on something. He knows that I won't shut up to then leave because he knows he has time. Then he knows you're here though, so he's taking advantage. I heard him pee, and now he's pouring up another drink.
It's all right. I already got my sights on Fluffy because of some other funny things from before that I pointed out to you. So now I'm gonna like find every little thing that he does wrong.
Well,
That's just what I do.
Well, you should. What was it last time about Fluffy? The paycheck you were dogging him about?
Yeah, that was the first thing. Like, why are you mentioning your paycheck on a little podcast, you dick? You're gonna lose half of the next one. See you Monday.
He's just talking shit about episode 1.
Oh.
Or I'd be like Gumby, I learned everything from my bro. So like, if I'd have said that, that's something that he would have done to me. Like, he'd be like, oh, you pissed off about your pay? Well, it'll be there. And then like he would give me 3 weeks pay 3 weeks later.
That's funny. We were all the same way around.
Or
here,
I'd be
talking
like
shit.
mucking the whole barn by myself, and
Oh.
he'd tell me everybody will be here in an hour. Just start mucking, and they'll be here. And then 5 hours later, I'm done by myself.
Did they ever show up?
But I'm just giving you shit, man. I'm just having fun. I'm not serious.
No, he's here to give you shit.
No, I missed out. So,
Yeah, you had to leave to go
man,
pee,
I'm
dude.
sorry, man.
You literally have
These pills.
the bladder of a
You-
baby.
I'm sorry.
Did you make sure you close the gate?
Oh shit.
No, don't let the tiger out.
That was the first mistake I made. I bet you it was y'all's first mistake too, leaving the gate open.
Happened with ponies with me.
I've definitely left gates open. But I'm trying to think of like my first mistake, man. The first thing that ever bit me when I started working at the zoos was a skunk. Ironically, the last 2 things that have bit me were skunks.
Oh, that's freaks me out, man. I don't like those fucking little things.
You don't like skunks, dude? They're
I don't
fun.
like
They're cute.
I don't like the cat like all the way up to the marsupials. They freak me out a little bit. Yeah.
So
I feel
do
you.
do you not like kangaroos?
No,
Everybody likes
I got the shit beat out of me by a fucking kangaroo.
Do tell.
Oh, God damn. When the first time I met Dave Hale at 5-H Ranch, we went to the Milwaukee Circus Parade. We're a huge thing. This, if somebody doesn't know Dave Hale, it's really easy. If you know the animal world, he's the 16 hitch camel that it later turned into a 32 hitch camel.
Insane.
Crazy.
Hitch in the circus parade. And I get there, my first year at the circus parade was 2001. And the first thing I did was, I'm still proud of this, I impressed Dave Hale by saying, I smell cats. Where's the cats? And then the cat trailer pulled into the lot. He's like, God damn, boy. Pulled the toothpick out. Holy shit, boy knows his animals right there. He fucking smelled them bitches coming from down the road. Oh, shit. That was how I met Dave Hale. He's like, show me something else, boy. Get up in that there trailer and scuffle out that there kangaroo. He's in the nose. You just got to climb up there and just push him out of the nose. It's like, I'll do it. And my dumb ass, dude, was like the current, I looked like the current poster boy for PETA and Gen Z. I had blue hair and his neck tattoo. His neck tattoo was fresh and shit. He's like, get on up in there and then take it down there. So I got up in the fucking thing. I see the room. I had no fear because I was, I've already done some shit by then. But I'd never messed with the roo. So he wouldn't move. I was like, go on, get. And I started fucking smacking the side of this big, gigantic Illuminite trailer. Boom, belling it. And he's just looking at me.
God.
He's like, come at me, motherfucker.
Let's play.
I will come at you, motherfucker. And I put my arms up underneath this kangaroo and go to throw him out of the nose. He spins his ass around with the inertia of his tail and puts me in a headlock. And he's behind me already, like that. And I didn't know they could do that shit in like a little confined space. But he used his own weight to spin himself around, get me in a headlock, and then with me and him both jump out of the nose of this gigantic fifth wheel onto the floor of the trailer. I hit the goddamn ground on those.
Oh my God.
It was punched. The floor of the trailer was punched for traction. You know what I'm talking about? Those fucking old feather lights that had spikes all over the floor of the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Like the diamond
Right
plates?
down on those. And he just commences to fucking hit me in the side of the head as hard as he can with his knuckle. And I'm trying to catch the other arm. I eventually catch the other arm, and when I do, he's hopping both of us up and off the ground. And at the end of the trailer, there's fucking Dave and Gumby just laughing their fucking ass off. Not even attempting to come in there and get me because they had probably both been through it a few times themselves.
But it sounds so much worse in an aluminum trailer too. I bet it just sounded like a thunderstorm in that thing. Like,
oh yeah, sure. The whole thing's rocking and stuff because he's like, I want to say he's at least 150 pounds. This kangaroo,
big old
pretty
man.
big. It's a human being, It's like fuck you, dude.
a strong one too.
Yeah. And his name was Al Bundy because when he wasn't being fucked
Dude, that's
when he wasn't being fucked with, he just scratched his balls like a lot of people.
Dude, that's the best kangaroo name I've ever heard.
Dave was just as great as Gumby. If you ever want to look into Dave Hale from 5-H Ranch, he has a predecessor. He's survived by his son John D. Hale, which is part of the John D. Hale band, and still runs 5-H Ranch in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and runs the auction there. And they are the real deal. If you ever want to see a big camel, you go to 5-H Ranch. If you ever want to see a huge number of white camel, you go to 5-H Ranch. If you ever want to fuck with a black camel, you go to 5-H Ranch. It's just a guarantee. You're going to get the animal you're looking for if you go to John. But Dave was funny, man. He didn't give a shit about anybody. There was a famous tack maker there at the circus parade that would hand out your award that showed that you participated in the circus parade, and it was basically just a piece of tack, hitch tack, that said the year and Milwaukee Circus Parade, and his name was Carlos Vincent, probably still is. He would walk his kid around on a chimpanzee harness, and that's how he sold his chimp harnesses to people. But when he first met Dave, he walked up and he introduced himself the wrong way. He's like, "My name is Carlos Vincent. I come from the greatest country in the world, Sweden." And Dave was like, took the toothpick out of his mouth and pointed the toothpick at him and said, "Well, why don't you take your fancy ass back there then?" It's so fucking great. This is America.
My man.
That's funny. You got me thinking. I wonder. I guess I didn't realize how like long ago somebody invented a chimp harness. I wonder if those led to the harnesses that people have on their kids these days.
It's calmed down a lot, though.
I haven't seen it in a while, but that is some crazy shit.
At the Milwaukee Zoo, dude, I'd see that on a daily, multiples, on a daily basis.
I probably would put my kid on a leash. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. At least with a retractable, right?
I'd be like, move up.
Steady.
I
didn't
know that the Milwaukee Circus Parade even existed until you told me about it a while ago. I guess I looked it up. I think it said the last year was in 2004. Did you know about it?
Nope.
Yeah, dude, that sounds like an incredible time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
And just like I'm sure Bob and Don had seen it.
Oh yeah.
I like what the fuck.
It was
surprised they weren't in it,
man. There was every circus from around the world would come and or every circus that could or would come and participate, and there were so many exotic animals roaming the streets of Milwaukee that the Teamsters would put chalk circles in the road and put numbers in them, and then you could bet on which animals would shit in those circles.
That's awesome.
Dude, what a game!
That's
dude.
awesome.
I'd put give me 100 on the kangaroo.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what? So what was the kangaroo's job in this circus?
It was a display animal for the petting zoo.
Was it? Oh, okay. So it didn't like go through the parade.
Nope. Had a chain link top, chain link sides, and it was just there for people to see. And if you wanted to, you could put the coin in backwards, and it would dump in pellets into the kangaroo thing. So it was a little money maker.
Were there any like lions and tigers on floats or anything like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. With enclave,
so cool.
Cat cages, mobile cat cages, cat carts.
Yep, that's what we used to do, man. I'll just send you pictures. We just, you put a lion on a flatbed and a pen around it.
We did a pretty podunk.
It was pretty hodunk for sure. There was a point in time I was not around to see this, but they moved a camel on a flatbed trailer one time.
Sounds familiar.
Which at the end of the day really isn't that crazy if you look at how people move camels overseas. I mean,
cars,
they'll put it in a truck bed and tie its legs together, cushed. Like
I seen it in like a small sedan. I was like, what?
That's so crazy, man.
How? I want to see the process here.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I'm like, you better have an 8-foot tall trailer. Blah, blah, blah. It's absolutely crazy. I'm really upset that I was not alive to see that circus parade. That's just, it's history and it's gone, man.
Yeah.
And now, we don't even have we don't have elephants at Circus World anymore. What, 2 years ago was their final
A year or two
huzzah?
ago, yeah.
They did. I think maybe it was last.
Oh, it was
year.
it was 2 years ago because you and Jason went up there, right?
I missed it. Jason did.
I
was
wanted
very
to get
upset.
up there too.
Every animal person in the radius that I knew was there, but me. I was I don't know, somewhere walking a camel.
Yeah.
Per always, man.
Living your life.
I guess, but they had the send off for the elephants for Circus World, because they went back down to Oklahoma. Circus World told the general public that their elephants were retiring, but what really happened, the elephant guys told me, is that Circus World just got bullied from PETA, dude, and they retired of it.
Yeah.
So that's another win in their book.
Mm-hmm.
It's really messed up, man.
It all depends. Like we said from the fucking beginning, man. It depends on who has the most peanuts in their pocket. And if you can't feed the big enough elephant enough peanuts as it wants, you're not gonna win. And they got all the peanuts, so they'll bring out truckloads of peanuts and they'll fucking drown you with them, and you got to go away. Because you're too busy feeding that elephant to afford a lawyer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you care about the animals more than but that's the problem is you don't have the money for the lawyer either. So
right. If somebody were to come at me with a case for something, I sure don't got lawyer money, man. I'd be, shitting out a brick, but like I could also argue that I take damn good care of my animals.
Yeah, and I am petty as shit. Let them show up on this property,
dude.
I am so petty.
I saw a video yesterday on Facebook. It was really not animal related. It was like a mom and a dad arguing or something, and there was a daughter. I don't even know if they were related, but like there was this big tattooed angry man screaming at this woman, and he was just mad. Like I thought the dad or the dude, whoever he was gonna start like beating on this woman, and instead he started hitting the cat. Like there was a cat on the bed, and I was like, what the?
Who punches a cat,
dude? That's what all the comments. They were like, what's this have to do with the cat? And what's funny is it came with this like really long post and paragraphs reading about the situation, and I skimmed it, and nobody mentioned the cat. It had nothing to do with the cat. But like I was centered on this guy hitting the cat, and I was laying in bed last night seeing this, and I was fueled, man. And I was like, dude, if somebody came to my place and hit one of my animals, they would leave bloody.
Yeah.
Like there is no way. Like, you know, there's all these people that confiscate from zoos and stuff, and everybody, like, when you get into a legal predicament, they're like, be calm, you know, that'll settle things in court. And I just don't think I could do it, dude.
No, emotions run high.
I do not like them camels are my best friends, man. Like if PETA came here and with like if they pulled up like they do to zoos with truck and trailers ready to confiscate, and they like tried to put a lead on one of my camels, dude, I would grab the bull chain and beat them. Like
you'd probably be grabbing more than that.
Yeah, I think you're in the right to do that too. We used to make sure that we knew all the local laws as far as land goes.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that we know what other people can't do on your personal property, and then use those laws to do whatever we wanted to people under those laws. Luckily, we were in Tennessee, so they were pretty loose. You know what I mean? Like, all he has to do is have one toe over your doorstep. You can shoot him in the dick.
And that's why Tennessee's still free, man.
Oh man, what was that? What was that zoo a couple months ago with the giraffe confiscation? Do you know what I'm talking about? Giraffe confiscation. I'm trying to look it up here. Natural Bridge Zoo. I don't know if you had seen that, Billy. I can't remember the state it's in. Virginia, maybe? I don't know.
No.
But these guys, there's a big lawsuit, this, and that. And anyway, PETA was involved, and eventually they got, court access to go confiscate this giraffe from Natural Bridge Zoo, dude. And there's videos of it you can find online. I'll have to send them to you. Of the transporter pulls up, and, they back the trailer up to the barn, how you normally do, and these guys were buffoons, dude. They're on, video camera, hired by people that think the animals need better places, and they're, smacking the giraffe with zap paddles, throwing gates at it. Dude, it was messed up. And,
yeah, that works great, yeah. If you want to die.
This $300,000 animal, dude. And so they finally get it to run out of the pen, and he hops into the trailer, and they are so persistent that they slam this giraffe's foot in the trailer door, and they break his whole hoof off.
Oh, Jesus. Like, clean off.
Clean as a whistle.
Good job, guys.
Can't even make that shit up. I couldn't even imagine that could happen. Yeah, there's a whole image of his hoof.
Now you gotta put the giraffe down if you're not a millionaire.
That's it. You're done.
And, that's part of their thing. I'm sure, PETA wouldn't care, because they're like, well, if it has to get put down, at least it isn't there.
Yep.
It's super just critical stuff. I'll have to send you a link to that. That was wild. It was...
When's the last time you heard of Mayo Clinic creating a prosthetic for a fucking giraffe? Fuck you. It's gotta die.
Somebody's going to be like, I bet we could 3D print that.
Even horses. Horse breaks a leg.
Shoot it.
Good night. See you later.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's done. Everything, actually, I mean, was it even a Shetland pony is probably about the lightest thing you could probably hope for it to heal. And it's still going to be gimpy as fuck after that.
Still broken.
Anything
bigger, yeah, man. You got to...
It's going to just be... going to be a rehab animal for the rest of its life,
Yep.
And for real, like, they would need a boot. I mean, their hooves are an extra 2-3 inches on their feet, man. Like, you got to give them something.
He ain't living after that. It'll get gangrenous or something. Something's happening. How are you going to treat a giraffe?
If you could pull that off, I'd put nails on it. I'd make it the most lethal foot you can see. Like, a giraffe kick will launch you, but it's not going to break a leg, right? Let's make sure this new foot breaks a leg.
It's going to fuck something up.
Add quite
some graphite with a couple spikes in it.
That's crazy, man. Just danger pony.
Right.
If the first kick didn't hurt, this one will.
This one's going to get,
It's such a wild... baddie world, man. I don't know. It angers me thinking about it every day, and being that we're all succumbed to these people, man. It's everybody. Numbers work, and if it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, lie until it seems true. If you have 100 people telling the same lie, people are going to join in on it.
Yeah. What is that called? There's a word for that.
Is there? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at English.
Oh my god. It's like a buzzword.
But that's because they're in such large numbers, these activist groups, man. They brainwash more people day in and day out, man. And
Yeah.
it's absolutely nuts. But hey, that's
And they've
where
not
we live.
stopped.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Carol,
Well,
Carol's given the platform way more thickness.
Man, who
I
are
mean-
you telling? The evil bitch.
No.
She did it. She killed the husband.
Dude, she did it. Carol Baskins definitely did it. Everybody knows that. There's a song about it.
I don't even think you're talking about that Carol. I think you're talking about Peter Carroll.
At least she's aging gracefully.
Gaslighting. That's the word I was looking for. It's gotta gaslight people.
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, just in a giant group of people,
That's gaslighting. That's how conspiracy theories are just.
Yeah, that's very true. That's valid. But anyway, Billy, I think our podcast here has succumbed to about the limit. Not that there is a limit to it, but this is about
Well, we gotta save material for next time.
that too. And
Right.
some of our viewers might want to not listen to us anymore at this point, but we really appreciate you for coming on. This podcast was kind of all over the place. It's not like we really had a.
This is the funnest one, though.
Yeah, this was a good time, man. I hope we can have you back. It's really
Hell
here.
yeah.
It's really cool
Anytime,
hearing
boy.
stories, from you. It's neat when you meet people that do the same shit you do, but different. You've had this story that I don't have, and you've done this way, and shit, you've eaten some unspeakable things, and, man, like.
But you know about the people that me and Shane have heard about I've heard about them for 20 years. Dave Hale, Gumby,
Yeah.
like,
They're real.
yeah.
It's really rare to bump into people in this profession. That's
Yeah.
for sure. If you're not constantly in it, that's weird. So
TikTok,
that's-
baby. Creates
Hey,
friendships.
Yeah.
And you can bump into other people with like a camel, but that does not mean they're in the animal industry.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
That was actually, Billy, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you. Since you were part of the private animal world, did you or Gumby or anybody you knew get outsourced to train or transport or do anything for county or municipal zoos?
Sure. Yeah, that's what we did for Dave Hale, a couple other ranches. We delivered auctions, and then also we, like you, with the nativities, ride stands, this and that. Worked for a lot of different synagogues, and
Okay.
every once in a while we'd make 500, 1,000-mile jumps for those if the price tag was big enough. Yeah.
Did you ever transport zoo to zoo? Do a lot of that?
No.
No, none of that.
Negative. It was our transporting was either from private owner to zoo or private to private
Okay.
Okay.
for breeding loans and things like that.
Sure. And I totally forgot I wanted to ask you this earlier, so we'll keep you on for a minute here. But that being said, regardless of how much experience you've had with municipal, do you agree, and why would you agree why the private animal industry is better than the municipal and the government ran?
Oh, that's fucking easy, man.
I know you'd be
And
correct.
municipal and government conservation programs, there are, just like in any other government thing or city program, you set limits for this. You're like, oh, that's a baby. He needs 1 bottle of milk per day. Whereas in the private industry, we're like, no, he's going to be big. I want him to grow big, and I'm rich, so I can just buy him whatever he wants and let him eat whatever he wants and walk wherever he wants, get him as much enrichment as he possibly needs. Whereas, and the opposite again, municipal, town, government, that's just they're going to get a certain amount every day, like fucking Puff Daddy's getting right now.
The set
You want
minimum.
your camel to live. You want your camel to live like Puff Daddy, or you want him to have what you want him to have, and that's the difference between private and municipal.
That's super valid, because
And that goes everywhere, not just food, with enrichment, medicine, care, bathing, all the
Yeah.
way down.
110%, because we're allowed to outside of the medicine and food and stuff, we're allowed to also spend as much time as we want with a specific animal, and that correlates with
Yep.
the food and medicine and everything, and we get to know the animal and how much food it should have. And because each human eats a different amount of food a day. Each human requires different medicine. The animals are exactly the same. So spending the time with them and being allowed, it's not even about time. It's also about being allowed to spend time with your animals. You go to a lot of these bigger places, and I mean, it's all shift doors. There's no lead ropes. Nobody plays with the animals. Everybody's worried about lawsuits and people getting hurt and stuff like that. So I mean, the interaction alone,
Dead.
It
And
is.
training too with municipal. You're not allowed to do these things. You're not allowed to enrich this thing, teach this animal anything. You're not. If you do, that's possible prison time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't teach the animal how to lay down with a word. That's fun. Shut up.
People are nuts, but you guys heard it yourself from once another. The private industry IMO is definitely better and more fun than the municipal. But what the fuck do I know? Here we are. But I appreciate you once again, Billy. Thanks for sticking around for an extra minute. 'Cause I knew I had to ask you that question, but we really appreciate you, man. But
It's been fun, guys.
I thank you, and once again, guys, appreciate you guys for listening as well, and hope everybody has a good day.
Hold on, one more thing. Thanks, Billy, for being our first popping our cherry
That's
for
true.
our
That's true.
our guest. So
Yeah, Billy is
Hell
the
yeah,
first
dude.
guest on the What Day Is It podcast, man.
Yep.
That is super, super cool. I guess it's been a train of one more thing on this
Yep.
podcast. But we'll have you back. And definitely, if anybody has any questions for Billy, leave them in the comments below. This guy has, quite a million stories to tell, literally. Repertoire. And everybody like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good shit. We appreciate you guys for listening in.
And happy hump day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Next time, Joe Exotic.
Holy shit.